I coded a Chrome extension that allows you to save any file or link directly to Google Drive, and it took me only 8 hours to code it, from finding the idea to publishing it to the Chrome Web Store. I'm gonna walk you through today how exactly I found this idea, which was an accident to be honest, to how exactly I architect my Chrome extensions, to be as effective as possible. Today is episode number 5 of Vibe Coding until I make $100,000. Welcome back and let's get into it. I actually got lucky finding this idea because I came across this request while browsing Chrome extensions in Reddit. The extension the user mentioned is made by Google itself. I was afraid I could potentially break some terms of service coding something similar, but according to my detailed and thorough research, I would be fine. Jokes aside, there were many Chrome extensions doing something similar, but most of them had a lot of complaints and mainly about permissions. And I believe I know why. When logging in to access the Google Drive, it shows a message saying the app can access files interacting with the app, but only files the app has created. Some users might think the app can actually access everything in the Google Drive, which is not possible, so we do need to make it clear that we can only upload files. Now that the idea is sealed, it's time to build. And the first step here is to simply create a non-auth client via Google Cloud. And I also need a permanent Chrome extension ID, since Chrome generates random IDs until you publish, and having a fixed one is going to make our development life much easier, because we don't constantly need to update it in the Google Cloud every time we rebuild the extension. Then I sent this prompt to Cursor, and I let it work its magic. Also, something important, whenever you do authentication in a Chrome extension, always do it in the background.js, never in the popup. So the login button can be in the popup, but the login itself happens in the background. After that, I tested the login, and it was working fine. Now that the login is working, I start working on the upload functionality. So I create a temporary input to add the files to simplify the process, and as expected, it does not work. So after a few minutes debugging, I'm able to successfully upload a file from the Chrome extension to Google Drive. Once the function to save files was working, I implemented the right-click functionality. I came across a bug here where the folders were being duplicated, so I fixed it as well. Once the code is working, I focus on the design. I use ChatGPT to generate designs, so I ask Cursor to summarize the current UI we have, and I send it all to ChatGPT along with the colors that I want. This was the end result, which was good enough for my judgment. Now I send this image to Claude and I ask it to code it as HTML, CSS and JavaScript, and then we are going to send it all back to Cursor and ask Cursor to implement this in our Chrome extension. Claude does a good job coding it and Cursor also implements it pretty well, but now the extension is no longer working. But before fixing it, I decide to create the logo for the Chrome extension. I also used ChatGPT to create the logo, and after a few attempts, I landed on this and I was pretty happy with it, so I stuck with it. The final steps here were fixing the Google login, adding a pop-up when saving files with the Chrome extension, and getting the Google authentication verified. Finally, everything was good to be published to the Chrome Web Store, and now it's just a waiting game. Because this extension interacts with all URLs, it usually takes a little bit longer to be revealed, so I'm thinking maybe 5 or 6 days. As you can see here as well, I started at 2 PM and finished before 10 PM, so it took me less than 8 hours to release this MVP. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I see you next time.